My mum would have been 70 this week, and I would love to know what she'd have thought of the life I'm building at the cottage. When she was alive, my gardening was limited to houseplants, I'd barely touched a power tool, and I only cooked about 3 different meals. Things have changed quite a lot since then.
When you put a post in, you're supposed to bury a third of it in the ground, which is about 50 centimetres of the post that I want to put in. And looking at the hole I've got so far, if I'm judging it by eye, optimistically, I'm saying it's 40 centimetres deep. If I get a tape measure out, maybe 30 centimetres, which I'm almost tempted to say that'll do. But there is a giant rock in the middle of it. And after a good half an hour of trying to get that rock out, it has become a point of principle that it's got to go. So I'll probably be here for the foreseeable future, but I will not be beaten.
I don't know when I became a part-time archaeologist. What's happened? Why can't I find treasure? Why is it always just rocks? Yes! I'm hoping that'll do the job, but I might pick up another bag of postcrete just to fill the rest of the hole in, because it's got to support something quite heavy and I don't want to pull it out of the ground. I've had loads of questions about what I'm planning on doing with all of the food that I'm growing, and I'm hoping to preserve as much as possible using a variety of different methods. And freezing is the method I am most familiar with. I'm planning on blanching and freezing my broad beans, and I'm freezing quite a bit of fruit as it comes in, because I'm going to make jam with it further down the line when I've got a bit more time. But I am going to do some water bath canning and some dehydrating as well. Both things that I know very little about, so that'll be a fun adventure when we get there. It's shaping up to be an unusually warm day, so I'm going to water the garden while I talk about Giraffe Tools, who are advertising with me this week. Giraffe Tools produce a range of retractable garden hoses, air hoses, and pressure washers. Their garden hoses are available in 3 different lengths, 25, 30, and 35 metres. I'm using the 35 metre one, which means I can get right into the furthest corner of the garden to water the rhubarb and the weeds. The hose reel is designed to be mounted on a wall or a fence and was easy for me to install on my own. I decided it would be simpler to mount it on a post rather than to drill into the granite, and once the post was in, installation was simple, with no complicated setup process. My garden is huge, and until now I've mostly been watering it with rainwater and watering cans. The automatic retractable hose means I can get my vegetables watered much faster, and at the end of a long day working on projects, that's great. The hose itself is a lot lighter than other hoses I've used, which makes manoeuvring around the garden really easy. The reel has a precise locking mechanism that locks at any length, which makes it easy to water the raised beds, as well as plants in the greenhouse and up by the cottage. When you're done, it retracts automatically. The longer retracting cycle and adaptive layering system make it smooth, safe, and stored away in seconds. You can use the code JUDE for 6% off at Giraffe Tools across their entire UK website. Okay, I'm starting to get bored of you. I would really like to make some progress this week. This is going to be one of those jobs that would be much easier with a second person, so I had someone to hold the door while I'm trying to fit it. But I've made it this far on my own, so I will not be defeated. Although it has just started to rain, so maybe I will be defeated. Okay, I've learned my lesson from making many mistakes with the nail gun. I'm gonna screw you in because the chance of me having to move you later is high. I don't want to say it too loudly, but I think this might work. Why is it taking you so long to build that chicken coop, Jude? This is why. The first door's on the coop and it opens and closes. You're gonna have to take my word for it though, because I can't take the tarpaulin tent off until it stops raining. No idea when that'll be. Did I leave my chop saw out in the rain? Yes, I did. Will it ever work again? I don't know, but I'm not testing it until it dries out. Someone told me Arizona only gets 5 days of rain a year, and while I don't think I'd like living in a desert, it would have its upsides. All I've got to do now is do the nesting box dividers, finish the plywood on the inside, put the flooring in, put the vents in, put the nesting box door on, put the locks on, build the roof structure, put the roof on, and finish the outside and build the run, and then I'm done. Excellent. Judging by the colour of the sky, it looks like it's going to be another day of trying to get stuff done around rain showers. And you'd think after living my entire life in the UK, I'd be used to that. But I didn't spend nearly as much time outside until I moved here. And I'm really realising how much rain we get.
I got a lot of questions about why I didn't put the walls of the coop together on the ground and then just assemble it in place, which I think is the traditional way of doing things, but that requires a flat, level surface, and the closest thing I have to one of those is covered in piles of scrap wood. I do want to build the walls for the chicken run in here though, so I need to clear some space, and the giant pile of scraps I've been saving for kindling seemed like a good place to start.
Before I put the next coat of paint on the inside of the nesting boxes, I filled all of the cracks and crevices with cork to try and minimise the amount of space that red mites have to hide. Red mites are a common chicken pest and they like hiding in little cracks and difficult to get into areas. So I'm hoping by minimising those, I'll have less red mite problems to deal with down the line. And that's one of the reasons I decided to go with plywood for the walls rather than something like a feather edge or a shiplap style, because you'd get loads of little crevices where the wood joins and overlaps for them to hide in. So hopefully this will work. I'm also planning on painting the inside of the coop, which I wasn't originally, but I think it will make it easier to clean and easier to spot any potential pest issues. So I'm going to give the main bit of the coop a coat of white paint on the inside, but not today because it looks like it's going to rain again. nothing guarantees rain quite like taking the tarp off the coop, but it is a lot easier to work on it without it. I've made a list of everything I've got left to do on the coop, and let's just say it is pretty extensive. It's turned into an art project rather than a construction project, and I think that might be slowing me down, but it is going to be worth it when it's done because you'll be able to see it from the road and it's going to look amazing. A few people have asked how the chickens are going to get in and out of the coop, and they are going to have their own door. I haven't forgotten about it. I've ordered one of those automatic chicken doors that opens and closes with the sun that will be going on the side of the coop, but I'm waiting for it to arrive before I cut a hole in the side so that the hole is the right size, because occasionally I do make sensible decisions. I think I'm nearly ready to start finishing the inside. I'm just covering up some of the poorly measured bits with some scrap plywood, and then I'm going to paint and fill all of the gaps with some silicone sealant to minimise the red mite risk. I've still got to put in some ventilation, and I've got to put the chicken door in when that arrives, but I think I can do that at the end. And once the inside is done, I can put the roof on, and then I don't have to deal with this tarpaulin anymore, and my life will be infinitely better. The sun's out and I finally managed to get all the hardware I need to get the nesting box door on. So that is the first job of the day.
My plan is to get locking carabiners to go through the bolts to keep the local predators out, and still let me in.
I'm starting to think I might actually be able to finish this. Considering I've been at the mercy of the Scottish weather, I feel like I've made some pretty good progress this week, and I'm finally starting to see some light at the end of the chicken coop shaped tunnel, which is great because I feel like I've been working on it for the best part of 15 years rather than a little over a month. So hopefully next week I'll be able to get the inside finished, and then I need to decide if I'm going to put the roof on or clad the outside walls first. Cladding the walls will be more fun. Getting the roof on will probably be more useful. We'll see. That's for future Jude to decide.
Thanks for watching. See you next weekend.